Now we're joined by a UK garage legend. He's been putting out records for over a decade, and any DJ worth his salt will own at least one of his tracks. Mr. Todd Edwards.
How you doing?
How you doing, mate?
Good.
So tell me, how did a producer from New Jersey become one of the pioneers of an emerging UK garage scene?
I would say it was it was a blessing because, you know, I was just setting out to make my own sound. So when you put on my record, you would know it was me. And if you listen to the people at in 92, Masters at Work, Todd Terry, when you put on one of the records, you knew it was a Todd Terry record, Masters at Work or MK. And I was like, you know, I wanted to have that same impact.
Is that where it kind of started for you, your influences and stuff like that?
Yeah, I was, Masters at Work, Todd Terry, MK, Roger S. Those were like the core guys that were, were all the producers that were starting out at the time would follow them from the New York scene.
So you started, how did you get with some equipment and how did you teach yourself?
Yeah, well, I took 1.5 years of piano when I was in high school. My parents had money saved for my college fund, so I wanted to buy a sampler. They only had $1,400 saved, so I didn't trust that I was going to be going to any Ivy League school or anything like that. So I took the money, I bought my first sampler, which was an EPS sampler. It was great because it had a sequencer on it. It had, enough capability that you can actually make tracks on it. So that was like the core of everything, was the sampler.
And you just sort of went from there and just played around with it?
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, your style was very distinctive, and through the years and the changes in the scene, you've never really drifted from that. How did you come across that formula? Was it something you stumbled across, or did you sort of...
Well, basically, if you remember MK, he would cut up vocals, and everyone was like wondering, what's it saying? And basically, he wasn't saying anything. So that, obviously, when I first started, I tried to emulate that.
Yeah.
And then at the time, I was listening to so much dance music when I was getting started that I kind of got burnt out on listening to dance music, so I started to explore other forms of music, and I came across Enya, the Irish Celtic singer.
That's right.
And it was just so relaxing, and she used her voice for instrumentation, chords of her voice of ahs and oohs. So I was like, what would that be like if I added that into dance music, So I started sampling vocals and using the snippets as instruments instead of actually using organs or pianos. And, and I also was very influenced at the time by Kenny Dope's drum programming, though I don't think it sounded like anything like him. I was trying to emulate that.
Yeah.
So it kind of developed into something, and I didn't expect it to have the impact that it had. It was just, like I said, I was just trying to to develop my own thing so people knew who I was. Yeah, so people knew who I was.
I mean, have you ever done a track that's not the classic Todd Edwards style that we might not have heard of? Any pseudonyms or anything? Any little white labels
I'm going to tell you if I have pseudonyms.
Yeah,
anyway,
we need to know.
There's a lot of suspicion about certain names that from America on our records, but you'll find out in the future, if it's me or not. But right now, I would say I've done, disco loop style stuff. I've done one two-step thing that really kind of, you could catch on 1 or 2 CDs, but never really saw the light of day on vinyl. There was a two-step mix that,
What was the name of that two-step tune?
Thank you. But basically...
That was Todd Edwards.
What's that?
Is it Todd Edwards?
I can't remember, actually. I think it was.
Funny that. Can't remember.
I don't remember. But anyway, so, I did a couple orchestra pieces for a friend of mine. I really like orchestra music, actually.
Yeah?
So I'm hoping that one day in my life, when I get a little older, I would like to kind of, hopefully doors like that will open.
And get classically trained as well. And
I wasn't classically trained, but it's kind of anything that I feel that I can do, I usually can do. Like when I feel, I never did an orchestra piece before, and I think even using sound modules, it sounded 80% real, you know what I mean? And it was very cliche. It was a lot of influences from the common soundtrack composers like John Williams and Jerry Goldsmith, but it came pretty good.
You've done it all right, yeah. So I've heard you talk about using Cakewalk, the sequencing program, before.
Yes.
I think it was on one of the...
I was part of the Stone Age. Before I used that up to 2000. And
what are you currently using in the studio at the moment?
Digital Performer. So I needed to switch up I needed to start using digital audio. I was so behind with that. When you get into the groove of doing the same, to making tracks and stuff, you don't you get comfortable using your equipment.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And you honestly don't know how much you need new equipment until you've had it for a while. Like when I went from Digital Performer and went back to Cakewalk, the old version of Cakewalk.
Yeah.
Not even a new, it was like 3 points or whatever, one of the old versions. And I was like, wow, this is really limited, and I was really, I realized how much better it's been. Plus, when I did remixes, I would actually sample the vocals into the sampler. Now, a lot of the times I'll just put it right into digital audio, which is common for everybody.
Yeah.
But for me, it was,
You'd sample every piece of vocal.
Yeah, and cut it up and do what
I suppose that helped with your style, because then you could pitch things down.
Yeah. I mean, you can do that in Performers or on the computer as well. I think once you get used to it, it's a lot quicker than putting it into the sampler.
What about sound modules and stuff? Do you ever use anything like that, or you?
I have a Juno 106 and a JP 8000 that I use for bassline sounds. I've just kind of recently upgraded, not upgraded, but I got new pieces just to experiment. I mean, I use the Roland 2080, because I have all the sound cards for orchestra sounds and organs and stuff. And
what's your favourite piece of kit at the moment?
Well, like I said, the favorite piece of anything would be the sampler, because that's the heart of the operation, and I use the Akai 6000. But I just picked up a motif, a Yamaha motif, a vintage, a MoFat, an X lead, and I've just got them, because I work simply. And I mean, that's the thing. It's like when I explore new stuff, it's usually not exploring new sounds; it's exploring new old records, basically.
Yeah, sure.
Like maybe something from the '60s or the '70s or whatever. And that's how I would kind of try to change what I do, not so much with sound modules, So.
How does your music go down in the States? Because, I mean, how do you describe what you do? Is because you've kind of got listed as a garage, I suppose a house and garage producer, but I mean, how is your stuff accepted in Jersey or in America at all?
It's because of things like iTunes, now we're starting to see where the American, who's actually listening to the stuff in America. Before that, it was really hard to tell. I know there's small pockets all over that are interested, but I don't even I wouldn't even know, except for maybe talking to someone like a friend of mine from California said they saw my CD in the record shop, or we're getting emails about people from America saying they love your stuff or whatever. And aside from that, you're not going to get the booking. I don't get the bookings as far as DJing as you do here, and the fan base is
because you've got kind of a cult status in London. It's like they call you the god.
Yeah,
I mean, that must be like a pretty amazing thing.
It's I mean, obviously it's great to have the following, and the people that do follow my stuff really appreciate the music, and it inspires me to keep going. And I think it's good in the sense that I don't get a dose of that all the time, because I don't get sucked into the ego of it all. You know
don't
what I
get
mean?
too big-headed.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I'm just, when I'm at home, I'm just me. I'm Todd. I'm not Todd Edwards.
Do you ever consider a move to London?
I couldn't do that because I'm so close to my family and friends. It would be too much. Plus, if I had to deal with so much rain, I need to have the sun, or it would affect me. But I would like to stay here. It would be nice to stay for a few months and really absorb the scene a little bit better. You know what I mean?
So, I mean, you've done hundreds of productions and remixes. Do you actually know how many remixes you've done?
No, I don't really count. I mean, when I get them in, I mean, I don't. Usually after the remix is done, record labels have a tendency not to send copies of their records. Like, so there's people out there that have more of my own records than I have of mine.
Really?
But I usually just take the vinyl, I'll put it in I'll keep like a couple crates around that just contain my stuff, so I can keep track of what I have and stuff.
What's your favourite production and remix so far? Do you have to pick one of each?
It's hard to tell. I mean, it's hard to say, because I think at the time, at each stage of my career, I was really happy about the way things turned out, and then as you go on, new things inspire you. You know what I mean? Like, I think originally, like, I was really happy with "Save My Life" in Alabama Blues, and then when I did "Shut the Door," I felt really good about that. And then "Like a Fire" is, I'm really happy about that. And
that's your new release.
Yeah, and that just came out, and I think as I go on, I'm really getting into writing vocals. That's like where my heart is at. But
because you sing as well, I've heard.
Yeah. I mean, I do it more out of necessity for when you have trouble finding good vocalists. But I do what I have to do.
You done the collaboration with Daft Punk as well?
Yes.
Face to face.
Yeah.
What was it like working with those guys?
It was good at the time. It was really good.
Are they fans of your stuff?
Yeah, I mean that's what made them make the phone call to do it, and it was interesting because they flew me over to Paris twice, and it was gorgeous.
So I mean, you never really seem to work with artists. You never see Todd Edwards featuring someone.
Yeah.
It's normally just a Todd Edwards thing, and probably that comes from your sampling. But in recent years, you've collaborated with the likes of Tough Jam and others.
Yeah.
Why is that? Why have you chosen to work with producers rather than?
Well, I think you're dealing with more of the distance boundary than anything. You know what I mean? I think that as producers over here, you have access to different vocalists on the scene. If I was over here, it would be I think a quick hookup. Because I'm in America,
But there must be a dozen singers.
Well, the thing about the singers is I don't really associate too much with the actual club scene in New York. You know what I mean? I do my own thing, and whatever, I've become successful doing it. But I don't really go out and hang out in the club scenes in New York. I did that when I was in my early 20s, but I stopped after a while. So that's kind of the reason why it's I haven't really collaborated with a lot of New York singers.
But the producers, obviously, are other people that you rate and stuff like that who you've worked with.
We've developed friendships, and good business relationships and stuff. And obviously, Tough Jam, at the time, they really had a great sound going on, and I appreciate what they've done. They appreciate what I've done, and you're going to get good chemistry when you work with people like that. I still would like to, at some point, work with MJ Cole. And he was up for the idea. It's just a matter of making the time to do it.
Sure. I mean, if you could work with anyone, just in any industry, producer, singer, who would you go for?
Well, I always wanted to do a Bjork remix, and I know she's not crazy about I think house music as much as she likes her more of the techno-y type stuff.
Sure.
But I still would like to do something for her. I would love to do something for Enya because of the fact that she did have such an impact on my work, and I know that's so left field compared to what other people would say, but I like doing things that are a little
out there.
Yeah, out there. Yeah.
What about UK producers? Is there any that you rate? I mean, do you keep an eye on what's going on over here?
Well, I mean, aside from the big boys, Matt Cole and Tough Jam and EZ, it's hard to really follow because of the fact that I'm continuously working. And when I need to get clued in on different things, EZ or Matt Jam will play me some stuff. But I really try not to absorb too much because I want my influences to come from outside sources. Because if you keep listening to the same thing over and over again, it's just recycling the same stuff. You're not bringing anything new to the scene, and that's what I think the scene could use, is just continually get some new ideas, bring them in, make it interesting, not just mass produce and recycle the same sounds.
But what do you think of the people that are in the opinion that you've kind of done that yourself, that your sound hasn't really sort of changed? Because it has been a very your style's, like you said before, your style's distinctive, but there's a few internet geeks that have a moan and stuff like that about you.
But at the same time, the same people that that moan about it, I mean, you still have producers sampling my beats and trying to do the cut up vocal style. So it's a kind of there's a contradiction or a hypocrisy there because if that were the case, then they wouldn't be sampling the beats or doing the cut up vocal thing. So I don't look at it as a valid opinion until the record stops selling.
So away from music, what do you get up to in New Jersey when you're not producing?
When I'm not producing, I hang out with my family. I have a nephew that's like a son to me, and I have my close friends have got kids. I like spending time with family, and I have a couple of good friends that I go to the movies with and go out to eat.
You got a favourite film?
Favorite film? I'm a big Star Wars geek. Yeah, I'm a big Star Wars fan, so...
Star Wars.
Yeah.
Big Star Wars fan over there.
Especially the last one I really liked a lot, so... And, I love sci-fi. That's like the big thing is sci-fi, so...
Favourite food?
Favorite food? I'm Italian, but I think Chinese like definitely kind of goes neck and neck with pizza. You know what I mean?
Good studio grub.
yeah, exactly.
So what's the future hold for Todd Edwards?
Vocals and continually writing songs. The track thing, I know I've done it. I'll probably continue to do it. But I would like to focus on writing vocals, and who knows, with other doors opening, I'll probably expand on what I do and keep doing the garage thing, but explore different areas.
Cool, nice one. Well, we're going to finish off with a quick fire round.
Okay.
So if you can answer nice and clear, just one answer.
One answer. Okay.
House or garage?
Garage, man. Come on.
UK or USA?
See, that's it. UK, because that's where I'm at. So.
That's where the love is.
Yeah, exactly.
Chicken or beef?
Chicken. I'm in my 30s now.
DJ or producing?
Producer.
Sandler or Stiller?
Say what?
Adam Sandler or Ben Stiller?
Oh, Adam Sandler by a long shot.
Yeah? And finally, EZ or Matt Jam?
No comment. Come on.
Alright, we'll leave it there.